100% Ryan was the one who put this line in here. Not SNL, not Tina Fey, not Blake Lively, but Ryan.
Ryan Reynolds who wrote that joke, of course. Also, what did Amy Schumer say to Blake Lively?
And it was the perfect storm for people like us that are already so fed up with her lies.
She alleges that one of the ways she was manipulated and used on this set
The legal battle between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni has taken another explosive turn, with conservative commentator Candace Owens now weighing in and blasting what she describes as an unbelievable number of lies coming from Blake Lively's team. As the high-profile lawsuit continues to dominate headlines, Owens is calling out what she claims are inconsistencies and deliberate manipulations in Lively's legal filings and public statements.
So thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Blakey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Then, after unsuccessfully attempting to raise concerns with Sony, Miss Lively expressly told Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath that there were serious HR problems on set. Mr. Heath responded that they knew, implying that someone had mentioned to them that Miss Lively had raised concerns. In response, Mr. Heath told Miss Lively that he thought that she had wanted to see the nude video of his wife. It's a big deal to her. Okay, I get it. I respect boundaries. I respect consent. Here's what I don't understand.
What started as a behind-the-scenes dispute during the filming of It Ends With Us has spiraled into a public spectacle, complete with competing lawsuits, media spin, and increasingly hostile rhetoric. While Blake maintains that she's standing up for herself and others who felt uncomfortable on set, Owens and Baldoni's legal team argue that Lively's narrative is riddled with falsehoods and fabricated claims. With motions being filed, subpoenas challenged, and even SNL jokes adding fuel to the fire, the battle lines are clearly drawn. So, what exactly has Candace Owens exposed? And how is Blake's team responding to the mounting pressure? Let's dive into the latest developments.
I believe to be is a boat full of lies. It's about taking feelings, emotions, and just, your little sensitive feelings and turning them into making a mountain out of a molehill. Is that what you say? Yes, making a mountain out of a molehill and ruining what I believe to be possibly not a perfect angel's lives, because I don't believe anyone is a perfect angel, but I don't believe Justin Baldoni is a guilty, sinister, evil man. And it's very, I will say, it's very parallel to what we're seeing in worldly global news, and turning the world or trying to turn the world against that person because you have more access to power.
Blake Lively's bombshell legal filing was supposed to strengthen her case, but instead it has drawn widespread criticism. Owens, along with several legal experts, has pointed out what they believe are glaring inconsistencies and unsubstantiated claims in the document. The filing alleges misconduct by Baldoni, but, according to critics, fails to provide concrete evidence backing up many of the accusations. Candace Owens didn't hold back, describing the complaint as nothing more than a calculated attempt to manipulate public perception with half-truths and outright lies.
100% Ryan was the one who put this line in here. Not SNL, not Tina Fey, not Blake Lively, but Ryan. And sure enough, some amazing mommy sleuth sends me a link yesterday, which you guys don't forget, you can always email me tips, info@CandaceOwens.com. And she says, check out this broadcast on an Australian radio show called Fifi, Fev, and Nick for Breakfast, literally a Melbourne, Australia station, where they had a guy who's been with SNL for 25 years. His name is Cue Card Wally. He literally holds the cue cards for SNL. And he was just opening up with them in a friendly conversation about how exciting hosting that 50th anniversary was. And at the very end of the conversation, Cue Card Wally gets asked about that line. Ryan Reynolds jumping up and making a joke about the Justin Baldoni situation, and take a listen to what Cue Card Wally had to say. She filmed one scene, the dance scene, where they're talking to each other, and she lies and claims that he was out of character, but forgot to mention that she was speaking to him out of character. Why didn't she just ask the intimacy coordinator from that day forward to be with her every step of the way? She didn't do that. Why is it that after that scene, which she is supposed to be the huge scene that made her uncomfortable, did she invite him into her trailer while she was breastfeeding? None of this makes any sense. To now acknowledge that you had communication with the intimacy coordinator actually proves their point, that your list of 17 demands that you sent in November to put a complete stop to principal photography was always a nonsense. You were always making things up that never were an issue. You had access to an intimacy coordinator, which is exactly what Justin Baldoni's team is alleging. They never deprived you of an intimacy coordinator.
In a significant development, the judge overseeing the case slapped down parts of Blake's filing, ruling that several of her claims lacked sufficient evidence. The court's decision was seen as a win for Baldoni, whose team has consistently argued that Lively's complaint relies on hearsay rather than hard facts. Owens praised the judge's ruling, saying it confirms what she and others have been arguing all along, that Blake's team is more focused on smearing Baldoni than presenting a legitimate case.
And I'm not providing any excuses for Colleen Hoover here, but I do think that strategy of love bombing would work, because what they're thinking is all we have to do, if you're Blake and Ryan, is imagine what these people want. What would be the biggest help to them? What are their biggest dreams? How do we help them realize those dreams? So for Brandon Sklenar, we know, it's not confirmed that they helped, but we know that during this time period, he signed with WME, the biggest agency in the world. And he's not that big of an actor, but that happened for him suddenly. We know with Colleen Hoover, it was probably likely this pitch of you should own your book rights. You should own the sequel rights. We want to help you do that. Maybe they were going to take a piece of the production company. Who knows? We know with Channing Tatum, it was Gambit, this role that he had dreamed of since he was a child. And they just went along with it. I think all of these people went along with it, not perceiving that there was evil afoot.
One of the most talked about aspects of the case involves Blake Lively's aggressive use of subpoenas to demand information from Baldoni and third parties. However, her strategy may have backfired, with legal analysts criticizing the overreach. Owens highlighted how Blake's team issued subpoenas that were not only invasive, but also poorly timed, potentially undermining their credibility in court. Baldoni's legal team has since filed motions to quash several of these subpoenas, claiming they were designed to harass rather than uncover relevant information.
Let me first start by explaining basically the background of what subpoenas are and what the whole process looks like. But before I do even that, I have to thank this video sponsor. This video is sponsored by Saley. Saley is a new eSIM service app brought to you by Nord Security. It allows you to choose from several affordable eSIM plans in a growing number of countries and regions. If you're planning on traveling internationally anytime soon, you'll probably want to keep your phone data connected when you are overseas. Because there are a lot of places that have Wi-Fi, but there are also a lot of places that don't. And I can tell you from experience from living overseas for the last 4 years that it's not fun when you find yourself without both Wi-Fi and data. My phone plan from back home from the United States actually does give me a certain amount of data in most countries, but it's still not that great. I've had times where I've needed to, for example, take baby bites to the doctor, and on the way there, try to get authorization from the insurance company, but then in the midst of all of that, getting throttled by my phone service.
Blake and Ryan Reynolds' recent appearance on Saturday Night Live became an unexpected flashpoint in the case. During the show, Ryan made a joke that many interpreted as a dig at the ongoing lawsuit. Lip readers even analysed a behind-the-scenes exchange between Blake and comedian Amy Schumer, further stoking the drama. Owens criticised the couple for treating a serious legal matter as fodder for comedy, suggesting it was a tone-deaf move that could backfire publicly. While Blake's team has downplayed the incident, public perception is shifting, with some accusing the couple of arrogance.
Ryan Reynolds who wrote that joke, of course! Also, what did Amy Schumer say to Blake Lively? A lip reader has revealed all. Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor, and of course Ryan Reynolds took Saturday Night Live's script and rewrote it, because that's what these two do. Famed cue card guy has now claimed that it was Ryan who pitched it. Took a joke. Deadpool, a Wolverine star, showed up, as we all know, at this anniversary, where Amy Poehler asked, Ryan Reynolds, how it's going? Why? What have you heard? This is the famed cue card guy. He's like a this is, what's his name? Wally Fairstein. He did a podcast, and he's the one who holds the cue cards during the show. He's been doing it for quite some time, so clearly he would know. This isn't just some willy-nilly person.
Blake's amended complaint, intended to solidify her allegations against Baldoni, has instead been branded as filled with hearsay, lies, and inconsistencies by critics like Owens. Legal documents are supposed to rely on verified facts, but Owens claims that Blake's filing contains vague statements and second-hand accounts that would never hold up in court. The public is now questioning why Blake's team would submit a document so easily torn apart by legal analysts.
Blake Pinocchio Lively amended her lawsuit against Justin Baldoni. She refiled it with a lot more words. It's got a lot more words in it. And let's resume where we left off. Other female cast members and even crew were victims of cruel Justin Baldoni's abuse and the toxic set that he cultivated. This faux feminist. We resume on May of 2023. The same female cast member.
In response to the amended complaint, Baldoni's legal team filed a motion to dismiss large portions of Blake's claims, arguing that they are baseless and intended to generate negative headlines rather than seek justice. The motion has gained traction, with the judge expressing skepticism about the validity of certain allegations. Owens pointed out that if the motion succeeds, it could be a disastrous blow to Blake's case. Observers are now wondering if Blake's team can recover from these setbacks or if they'll be forced to regroup.
And it was the perfect storm for people like us that are already so fed up with her lies. I could not, I'm telling you when I say I could not take it. And I got a comment back. Thank you so much for the super chat. I got a comment back in my Threads account about like, well, you clearly. So I had said something on a reel about like how I just have to trust my gut on this, about a crew member had come out from It Ends With Us the night before. And I posted about it. I said, I'm just going to trust my gut on this one. And I got a comment from some new account on Threads with 0 followers.
One of the most damning accusations from Owens is that Blake's team has been manipulating the media to control the narrative. With carefully crafted press releases and strategic leaks, Owens claims that Blake's PR team is more focused on public sympathy than winning in court. This tactic may work in the short term, but it risks backfiring if the legal proceedings continue to expose contradictions in Blake's story.
She alleges that one of the ways she was manipulated and used on this set as basically just so much meat for all the guys to slobber over was she says that she was in a birthing scene in which she had nothing but a nude piece of fabric, a tiny little nude piece of fabric over her genitalia, and that she was laying there exposed from the waist down, and that the room was full of people she didn't know, and the gynecologist in the scene was some pal of Baldoni's who was there to gawk at a naked Blake Lively, and that the whole thing was set up to undermine her and to make her feel small and to make her feel used. And so she alleges in her complaint that this was a prime example of Baldoni's ways, that there he would put her there with but a tiny bit of nude fabric. Cut to the reality of the scene, and Justin comes forward and Justin reveals the truth in his lawsuit, and he's like, tiny piece of fabric, what the heck is she even talking about? Let me tell you what she was wearing. Black briefs, a pregnancy suit, and over all of that, a gown, a hospital gown.
Social media has played a huge role in shaping public perception of this case. Hashtags like #Blake Lively Lies have begun trending, with users sharing side-by-side comparisons of Blake's statements and the alleged evidence contradicting her claims. Owens, capitalizing on this momentum, has amplified these comparisons, further turning the tide against Lively. With every new piece of information, the court of public opinion seems to be shifting away from Blake.
Baldoni, who's had his penis chopped off, completely emasculated.
She took the movie. She took it.
Overly woke, wussy pussy.
Yeah, don't do that.
It's true, but I'm saying he's a nice guy, right? But he lays down, man.
And you see all the texts where he's like, I don't want you to worry about your body. We'll be creative and make it look how you want it to look.
Why do we need to be creative? I thought I was perfect. Oh my God. He said we'll be creative. That's saying that I'm fat.
That I'm fat.
Right? I remember that story when you were telling me, because I remember there was like her in the elevator acting weird.
Oh, that's, oh my God. We should put the video in. But you f***ed up again, so.
Okay, well, it's all my fault. Here we go. Oh my God.
Hollywood insiders are starting to wonder whether Blake's handling of this lawsuit will have long-term consequences for her career. While she's been a beloved figure in the industry, the allegations of dishonesty and manipulation are starting to stick. Owens speculates that studios and brands may hesitate to work with someone embroiled in such a high-profile controversy. With her reputation on the line, Blake's next moves will be crucial.
Justin Baldoni stuff, did you read the amended complaint?
I did. I read all 140 pages. I actually reread the entire thing just because it had been, like a little bit of time had passed since I read, the full original complaint. So I figured I'll just read it front to back just to make sure I remember everything that she originally claimed and could spot, what new things she included in her allegations. And it was just a giant nothing burger in my opinion. And I guess that's the takeaway I'm seeing most other people say.
So I would imagine now if Justin Baldoni writes another book about this stuff, then he's not going to say, always believe women.
I hope that he's learned from this. There was also even more damning than that was the fact that she submitted one of the few texts that she submitted. I made a tweet about this. I want to go find it really quick just so I remember
Yeah. Go for
what
it.
it said. But she was acting like including that made her look good, and it does the exact opposite. So, okay, this is the part. It's point 48, and it says, "Indeed, these facts are not in dispute. Mr. Baldoni and the Wayfarer parties have already admitted that Miss Lively raised concerns multiple times."
Candace Owens has added a powerful voice to the growing chorus of critics questioning the legitimacy of Blake Lively's claims against Justin Baldoni. Accusations of lies, hearsay, and media manipulation are now overshadowing what Blake intended to be a stand for justice. With motions to dismiss gaining traction, subpoenas being challenged, and public sentiment shifting, Blake's legal team faces an uphill battle.
She seemed on edge backstage. SNL was accused of helping their couple, obviously with their tarnished reputation. It's true, Saturday Night Live in a way did, but I don't fault them. They wanted the attention, they got it. That's what Saturday Night Live does. I don't think they were proving a side. I don't know. It is an interesting take I didn't really consider. Is that them endorsing them? I mean, all parties are innocent to proving it. If they had done a shot at Justin Baldoni, I would have said, okay, maybe, but I don't know. I think, have they rejected Justin's appearance? Could he come on? I don't think he would, but my point is, I don't know if it was an endorsement. This is really so out of place from whatever angle. Who would make jokes about their own SH battle? And if Blake is not the victim here and they are guilty of harassing JB, this also looks bad. The latest SNL skit is another disgusting move. You're telling me that if your wife was actually SH'd, you'd be making jokes about it? I think this was a poor attempt at making the public like them again, but it backfired. Yeah, good comment.
Owens' involvement has only intensified scrutiny, with her no-nonsense approach highlighting the glaring issues in Blake's case. As the legal drama unfolds, one thing is clear. This is no longer just a battle between two Hollywood stars. It's a high-stakes war of credibility, reputation, and public trust. With millions at stake and both careers hanging in the balance, next courtroom showdown could be decisive. Will Blake be able to salvage her position, or will the mounting allegations of dishonesty prove too damaging to overcome? Stay tuned. The drama is far from over.